Hello and welcome to the Wizard Wants to Watch Yu-Gi-Oh video. In this video I'm going to be showing off how I sleeve my Yu-Gi-Oh cards. This is going to be focused entirely on different ways to double sleeve, whether it be with an undersleeve or an oversleeve. So let's just get started. Not sponsored. I mean, you can see the subscriber count doesn't support being sponsored, but I love Dragon Shield sleeves. I've been using them for the past 4 years and they've never done me wrong. So most of the stuff in here is going to be Dragon Shield. That's just Taxation Y. What I normally do for main deck is I undersleeve. Or use an undersleeve to double sleeve. So I'm just going to move some of the stuff out of the way to give a demonstration. So that's using the Perfect Fits in combination with a standard size Dragon Shield. So I like the Matte Duels a lot. I'll show you in a minute what those look like. But there's two different types of the Perfect Fit sealables. So that's just an open package that I have. So you have the standard ones, which are a bit cheaper, and then you have the sealables, which have an extra bit that goes into the sleeve. It's going to give you a bit more protection. It's also going to be mildly thicker, so when you have, especially a deck that's more than 40 cards, it's going to it's going to look like this massive tower. So let's move these out of the way. So I can demonstrate with a few cards how to use these sealables. So let's pull two out. Not that one because it got stuck. So there we go. So let's take our card. We've got this Zombie World, and we've got this Necro Banshee. So we're getting ready to side deck against Floowandereeze. So you basically put the card in halfway, then you slide the tab in, and then with the tab, push the rest of the card in. And then we'll do that with the other one. Slide it in, part way, get the tab in, push it in. So that's one step done. Let's pull some standard size Dragon Shields out. And it's as easy as once you're done, inserting your sealed card into the sleeve. You'll probably notice when you get a big stack of these that there's a lot of air. Sometimes you really gotta be careful how you put it in. Make sure you get both corners in before you start pushing down so you don't fray the sleeve. And then if you do have air buildup, you can just push down on them, start to get the air out. Especially when you start to play, that's no longer be an issue. Now let's get into the non-sealables. They're cheaper, so are they still good? I'd say yes and no. I've used these for a while. We're gonna sleeve up some cards for Sprite here. And it's a similar process, except you don't have that tab. So you take one, make sure you have the card lined up, and you throw it in there. Just be careful you don't dent corners when you're doing this, or you're going to end up wasting some of your sleeves. So, simpler than the sealables. Let's pull out some Dragon Shield sleeves here. The difference with these is it's easier to load them upside down rather than just loading it like a standard sleeve or a standard card you would, because that way you're preventing the card from sliding out from its undersleeve. So there we go. We've got 3 cards here, nice and sleeved. So out of these two, which do I prefer? I think the sealables are better. It's a lot easier to manage when you're doing your double sleeving. So that would be my recommendation. Other than that, other tips I can give for sleeving is sleeve all your decks the same way, because that's going to prevent you from having to move around your staples all the time. Like, I can't tell you how many times I've considered buying like an extra set of Infinite Impermanence or an extra set of Bestials, and it would have been way easier if I just bought the same sleeves and then be able to swap them around. Unless you're loaning decks out to friends, you can't play more than one deck at a time anyway, right? So, moving on to oversleeves. Where I like to oversleeve the most is with extra deck cards, because I love to use Konami art sleeves. So, Konami art sleeves are a little bigger than the standard Japanese size playing card sleeve. So you can get away with stuff that you normally couldn't do for regular size sleeves. So I'll show that off. So let's put this gigantic Sprite in these beautiful engaged sleeves that came from Magnificent Mavens. And what I like to do for over sleeves, I know Dragon Shield makes specific over sleeves with Japanese size cards. Everywhere I've looked has been out of stock with them forever, so I can't comment on the quality of them, unfortunately. However, these are just clear matte, standard size Dragon Shield sleeves. So these are the same size of sleeves you use for like Pokemon cards or Magic the Gathering. With the theory being, a bigger sleeve can go over top of the smaller sleeve, and it should be fine. So all you do, same thing. You want to make sure your openings are the opposite way. In accordance with the tournament policy, basically you can't have like both your openings facing up, and as well you're defeating the purpose of double sleeving if you're not closing that opening to your inner sleeve. So if you look, pretty tight margins on the side, like it's not sliding around too much in there. So that's what I like. Some people don't like the matte effect on the shiny art sleeves. I do, but it's up to you. What I would recommend against is you take a standard size sleeve, you put your card in it, and then you use, a Japanese size sleeve, and then you put your standard size sleeve over top of it. If you look, there's a lot more room for the sleeve to move around. It's going to push back and forth, and it might get you a penalty when you try and use that card because of that, because it could be used as a way to identify cards in your deck. So I recommend against that. I recommend only using standard size sleeves when you're using a larger art sleeve like these. But what if you don't like the matte look? I have one other brand of sleeves here. I haven't tried the Dragon Shield like clear sleeves, the gloss ones, but I'm not a big fan of gloss sleeves anyway, so not really relevant here. But I do have some KMC Perfect Fits for standard size. So when I bought these, my thought process was, okay, I have Yu-Gi-Oh! Size sleeves. The next biggest sleeve would be a perfect fit for Magic. So these are supposed to be like a tight fit on a standard size card. So I'm like, okay, that should work. So let's try it out. So we put our BLS in here, and then we do the same thing. So same rules apply when we're doing the perfect fits on the Japanese size. We want to make sure we don't stab the corner into it too much. And then you got to be careful when you put it in, because you could have that where you push the card up in the sleeve, which you're going to just have to start again. So now we got the card in the sleeve. You can hopefully pick up the difference in effect of the shiny sleeve with a gloss sleeve versus a matte. So my only other thoughts on this is shuffling these sucks. I've sleeved a whole Sky Striker deck in these engaged sleeves with the KMC Perfect Fits on them, and they stick together. Like, they're Perfect Fit sleeves, so they're intended to go inside another sleeve. So my guess would be that they're made to not slide around, which, especially when you're trying to have nice, silky, smooth shuffling of cards, you want them to slide around. So that'd be my recommendation overall, would be use the Perfect Fit sealables for the main deck with whatever Yu-Gi-Oh! Size sleeve you would like to use. And then for the extra deck, you can use whatever fancy art sleeves you want with these Dragon Shield Clear Matte standard size. But as well, you're always open to do a full deck with art sleeves, with sleeves like these. So that's my thoughts on sleeves, or what I do personally. If you have any other suggestions, products I should check out, feel free to let me know in the comments, and I'll see you in the next video.